Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Next we have is the approval of today's claims.
Actually, I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda.
Agenda, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is the approval of claims for payment.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the claims for payment for October 14th, 2020.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Utility permits.
I make a motion to approve utility permit UT-20-034. It is an IRUA utility permit.
I will second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Secondary roads.
The railroad finished with their work and our contractor finished, so the Hackley Railroad is open now to traffic, so that's good. I had Bruce drive it, he said it's smoother than the bridge we just did, so things are going well up there. And then they got to Highway S75 today, the county line with Grundy, and they're gonna patch that now, and hopefully we get wrapped up on our concrete work here the next week or two.
Anything else? Any questions?
Nope.
I will move on to the approval of final plans for HMA resurfacing project.
Yep, so this is our road we've talked about between Hubbard and New Providence. The plan is it's called crack and seating. It's where a machine goes and it cracks the concrete every 3 feet or so. And then, that way it's not one big rigid piece, and then we will put 4 inches of asphalt on top of it.
Okay.
Yep, so that's the plan for next summer.
Okay, and those plans will be available online if somebody wants to see them.
Sure.
Okay.
So that road would be smooth too, then, right?
Better be.
It's rough.
Yep.
Okay, I'd make a motion to approve the final plans for HMA resurfacing project STBG-SWAP-CO42 sub 107-FG-42 Highway D55.
I will second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Now I have a set time and date for budget amendment of fiscal year 2021.
I will make a motion to set December 9th at 10:02 a.m. for the budget amendment hearing.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next I have is tax abatement orders.
Is Michelle on?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you did. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'd make a motion to approve the tax abatement order number 5915 for Paul and Andrea Brown, 500 Providence Township in Providence.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have 2 of these.
Second, I'd make a motion to approve the abatement for order number 5916, Paul and Andrea Brown, 500 Providence Township, Eldora, Providence.
And I'll second that one.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Now I have is an estimate for the county home farm tile and the erosion investigation. What this was, for the last few years, the terrace has been blown out. The tile is blown at some point and they need to investigate. So they were asking for $2,500 to do an investigation, and then we could either decide to take it out for bids or just have it done, but we have no clue what we're doing or how much it's going to cost at this point.
Okay. And Jeremy was certain that we'd be good with, I know it says not to exceed $2,500, so pretty confident in that.
Yes.
Okay. Lance, I'll make a motion to approve the estimate not to exceed $2,500 to investigate the drainage at the Hardin County Home Farm.
I will second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? This will go to Gerke Inc. Any other discussion? Hearing no more, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is the auditor's monthly report.
I will make a motion to approve the auditor's monthly report for the month of September.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next I have is the recorder's monthly report.
Lance, I make a motion approving the recorder's report as presented.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Now I have is the sheriff's monthly report.
I'll make a motion to approve the sheriff's monthly report for the month of October. Or no, month of September, I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now we have is our flex benefits renewal. And we have an option here.
Lance, after going through the information that Becca sent down and Cindy Allen with IGHCP and looking at the WageWorks program, I'm going to make a motion to switch the flex spending to EBS as a part of the IGHCP program.
Okay, I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
The savings is going to be pretty small. And I guess, I don't know, I'm not that familiar with WEX. And so I guess I didn't know if it was going to be worth the switch or not. Because there might be some
I mean,
Do you have any
inevitably with any
information
hiccup,
on that.
just what we have, correct?
I utilize the flex and I have ever since it came into being here, WageWorks, I mean. And I think it's very easy to deal with. It has a debit card that you use and it's preloaded. And if you have to submit claims, it's all on an app on your phone. It's relatively easy. And when Becca discussed this with me, I looked at it and the cost savings wasn't going to be phenomenal. So why switch when everybody knows how to use it? But I don't make decisions.
And let me see. I mean, it just didn't seem like there was going to be a little more work to it as far as switching, and there's going to be kind of a lag for people to access their funds the way it sounded to me.
Right. I would recommend you don't switch because the savings was minimal. And when I say minimal, I mean like.
Yeah, it's less than $100.
Yes.
I
Very
think
minimal. It's not worth the hassle, but it's my humble opinion.
the savings, she said, would be under $60 a year because there's only 18 employees that
Right.
are taking advantage of that program right
Right.
now.
The other thing is, since I've been a user of it for so many years as a participant, not just the administrative side, but the participant, I can help people through it by explaining the process of submitting documentation, how the debit card works, how to use the app, how to go online, get your sign in if you want to do it on a laptop or a computer. That it'd be nice to know what's going on. And if you switch, then no one has an idea because they haven't used it.
Is there any other discussion? Want to hear from Becca?
Sure. Anybody's welcome.
Becca, did you have any comments?
I was gonna say she might not have a microphone on her computer.
Oh,
Okay. Oh, she's coming down. Let's just give it a second.
Maybe she'll clap when she walks in the room.
well, and I think with WEX, we would have to have somebody come in and explain everything.
Sorry, I don't have sound or a microphone.
You're fine.
I don't care either way. The administration is minimal on my part. It's super easy to renew. The renewal for WageWorks is in front of you, so we can start open enrollment sooner. if we stay with WageWorks. If you want to go to EBS, that's totally fine. They'll administer it. There's no additional administration costs, but there's that lag. And then there's also, we're gonna have to change all of our paperwork and everything. So there's also gonna take time to do that. So it's completely up to you guys. Your cost is savings, I think is like $57, $56. So you're really not saving much, and it doesn't take that much for me to do. So that would be mine.
Lance, I'll go ahead and withdraw my motion. Logistics.
Let's just call for it.
Okay.
So all in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion fails. Now I can entertain a motion.
Okay, I would make a motion to remain with WageWorks for our flex spending accounts for the next year.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Next I have is change of statuses in the auditor's office.
I will make a motion to approve the change of status for Lisa Nelson. She was hired. She is coming on board effective October 6th to staff the absentee voting check-in for afternoons at a wage of $10 an hour, 20 hours or less.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. I have another one.
You should.
I'll make a motion to approve the change of status for Scott and Carol Humphrey. They have resigned from the temporary seasonal part-time help in the auditor's office. They were assisting with part-time elections help. Their positions and duties have been completed, and Jessica would like to thank them immensely for their help. They fulfilled a lot of our busy work ahead of the absentee in-person voting start date. This is effective also October 6th.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? The motion was just the resignation.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing no more, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now we have is a motion to amend courthouse entry policy. And along with that, it was brought to our attention, although it never said that somebody would be refused for not giving a phone number. They added number 10 to our policy, which states courthouse security will request the following information from the public before entry: name, destination within the courthouse, phone number per Iowa Department of Public Health guidelines. Entry will be denied for failing to provide name, destination within the courthouse. Entry will not be denied for failing to provide a phone number. A phone number is requested for the public convenience to notify the individual when they may enter and for public health, COVID contact tracing.
Okay, I would make a motion to amend the courthouse entry policy to include paragraph number 10.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I would just like to point out that on no occasion has anyone been denied for not providing a phone number. And we do keep records of that for 2 weeks per contact tracing guidelines. So if anyone would like to see the logs, you are more than welcome to see those. And after 2 weeks, those logs do get shredded. So they are not kept anywhere in perpetuity.
I don't need to see the logs. That's unless there's a COVID breakout, and I probably still don't need to see them.
Fair. I just wanted to let you all know that they do exist, and if there is a question about who is allowed in or not, obviously you all know that, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Carrie.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Which carries. Emergency management update. We got Thomas on?
Thomas sent a text a few minutes ago that him and Rocky both were unable to continue attending. They must have some kind of conflict come up.
Well, we will bypass that. And open it up for public comments.
I have a public comment. It's Julie.
Do I have?
When people enter the courthouse to vote and the armed guard knows that and still asks for a number, and he told me I may not be able to enter the building unless I gave him my cell number, which I do not do. Do you have a written policy besides what you did that says when people come in to vote, you don't need to ask for their number? And the guard needs to stress, you do not need to provide it if you are here to vote. Specifically doing that because it's election time. And is that guard, is he wearing a mask? He or she? Gee, I don't remember. Do they wear masks?
Can I be allowed to answer that?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So Julie, this is Carrie Calloway. I own Quaker Security here in town, and we are the ones that are in charge of the guard at the front.
Right.
Two things. We always offer people to give their phone number for contact tracing purposes, whether they vote or not. If they choose not to give it to us, that's fine. I apologize that you had an experience the other day where you felt like that was not the case. It has been addressed with all of my people who work at the front desk that the phone number is optional and they will make that known to anyone. Most people don't have an issue providing their number because they would like to be informed if someone does contract COVID that happens to be in the building at the same time they are. So does that answer your first part of your question?
Actually, no. What I want to, when people, I'm talking about the election and I'm talking about people who may not feel comfortable going there in the first place, who may not say,
at any
who may
the phone
not
number's out.
say that, no, I'm not going to give my number. And then they may turn around and walk out. It's about people feeling like they don't want to vote. I'm not going to vote because I'm going to have to give, and I'm not asking you, I'm asking the supervisors.
I think I'm the one that's most qualified to answer it because it's my supervisor. You're accusing me of doing something wrong.
All right, let's stop.
I'm asking you.
Julie, stop. You're asking the board if we're going to pass a policy to allow people not to request a phone number if they're coming in strictly to vote. The policy we have is the policy we have to enter the courthouse. If you choose to absentee vote in the courthouse, it's the policy to enter the courthouse. It's not a policy to absentee vote. It's not a policy to vote at a polls. It's not voting individual. It is a policy of entering the courthouse. That is the answer you are looking for. That is the answer you are getting.
Could you let me say what my question is? I asked you now, are the armed guards required to wear masks? And if you can't, and are you protecting the county employees in the building when you let people in who may have COVID? Because we've had deaths in the county. We know it's dangerous. We know people die. So why let people in that aren't masked? Because you're exposing them to danger by not requiring masks. And why don't you require masks? Those are my questions. Thank you. Answer them.
Any other public comments?
No answer. Okay.
I'll answer on behalf of my team. There's no mask mandate, and so therefore it's my employees' option if they'd like to wear one or not. I have some employees that do and some that don't.
Gary, I'm asking the supervisors. Thank you, though. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Lance, this is Donna.
Donna, go ahead.
Pearl Duncan, Jim Daggs. They were husbands. They were fathers.
Donna, please don't give names. If you could, please.
It's already publicized.
It's not my meeting, please.
All right. The second
Go ahead, Bill.
death in this county. They were husbands. They were fathers. They were grandfathers.
Yeah, there's 3
They
deaths.
had lives. Pauline, please mute yourself. They had lives. They meant something to people. They should at least be acknowledged. Johnson & Johnson has paused their vaccine trials. So has Eli Lilly because of possible problems with the vaccine. AstraZeneca is still paused. As of the county health department's posting of last Friday, there have been 44 new cases and a 4th death. 19 of those new cases were at Ellsworth College. And I hope you do not think those kids stayed only at the college before they were diagnosed, which means a larger community spread. This county needs to stop, think, and realize this is not a hoax. This is not just the flu. And not only old people die from it. There has been a case of a 25-year-old male in this county that has tested positive a 2nd time. There is no guarantee of immunity. This county needs to think, and its leaders need to encourage thinking. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Yeah, hi, this is Matt Razab. I just had a couple quick questions for you guys. Lance, you said they gave you this number 10 list for phone numbers and all that. Who's they? Is that the public health department?
I got this from the county attorney.
From the county attorney, okay.
I believe.
And is there any possibility that you guys could have that posted, or maybe you already do, I haven't been there, so that people are aware that they don't have to give their phone number and don't feel intimidated as maybe Julie was worried about?
We can post policy on the door. I believe the other policy probably is on it right now.
Okay.
And now that it's approved, it can be posted.
And we also have hard copies of that policy. So if someone does have questions or want to know and take a copy with them at the door, we have those available.
Okay, that's good. And then finally, does the $2,500 for the tile inspection or whatever investigation, does that come out of the general fund?
I believe it'd be general fund under the supervisor's budget. Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Any other public comments?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I had unmuted and was carrying on with Donna. I thought as we spoke one by one, it was muted. So I apologize, Donna. I didn't realize that. I guess I would like to say the same as Donna and about our COVID problem that we're having and allowing like the extra bikers, you know, that have come through here, and the time that we had let the bikers make 3 stops here in Hardin County, which was a little overdone and all this and that. And I realize that's going way back, but somehow or another, like Donna said, I agree. Don't you think it's time we need to step up to the plate? you know, we're already having these, I believe it was on the news last night, we have 18 counties now in the state of Iowa that are above the 15% threshold, as our governor says that they have to be for our kids not going to school. How soon is Hardin County going to be one of those that are going to reach that threshold? And I think it's time, like Donna said, that we need to start taking this seriously. And, you know, as we we're being told that as we approach the fall and winter months, this is going to get worse. So is there any help that we're going to get? And as things are going out, we're already seeing and hearing that our governor's getting an F on this, and it's already out there that in the whole United States, we have the worst governor for this.
Hey, Pauline.
You know, with all of this. So, well, I'm just saying that, you know, it's out there. So don't we need to start, you know, planning our own things maybe, so we don't get to be in that 18%? Thank you.
Any other public comments? Thank you, Pauline. Hearing no more, and go to other business.
I have no business.
I have nothing else.
No other business. We have now is manure application policy and logistical considerations.
So it was brought to my attention, and I know it's been brought to Taylor's attention, that there's still some lack of compliancy when it comes to manure application using an umbilical hose line. And I brought the subject up to Attorney Meyer, and I think it deserves some discussion on the enforcement, potential prosecution, and how that is honestly going to look. The person that brought it to my attention, you know, I think presented it well. If you're going to have a rule or a policy in place and not enforce it, then what's the use of the policy or rule? And I would tend to agree that with that, why have a policy if we're not going to be able to enforce it? So I just wanted to have some dialogue on, you know, what we can or can't do when it comes to this.
And we're talking about the policy of an umbilical hose that's running alongside the road.
Right.
And cones need to be put up. They need to apply for a permit. What else do they need to do?
You got the gist of it.
And if somebody's not complying to it by not having a policy at all, they can lay the hose on the road anyway, right? But to have a policy, even though they don't abide by the policy, at least we have some ramifications and say, hey, you need to come file a permit, right? Get that process started and get cones out there immediately.
His biggest complaint was that there is really no penalty, though.
There's no teeth to it.
Right.
The other thing is, how do you, from what I understand, that the alleged guilty party in this case may be an out-of-county, out-of-state contractor that maybe doesn't know what the policy is. So how do you educate a company from Illinois or Michigan or Minnesota, somebody comes into the area? I mean, they should do their due diligence to find out what the rules and regulations are, just like, you know, if you come from Minnesota to Iowa, hunt or fish, find out what the regulations are before you take a fish or a game animal. So I think there's some credibility to the concern, but I think he's right. You know, if there's no penalty, but also how do we find out who's doing that line of work in the county? Kind of like Jess Sheridan's concern about qualified and bonded septic installation companies. So I think it's something that I don't think we're going to come up with a solution today, but I think we need to continue to look at how we can improve the process to make that something that, you know, we delegate the right people to it.
Okay, I got a question for Darryl, I guess. By not having a policy and something was to happen, are we liable?
No, I think whoever.
Would it look better in a court of law if we had a policy that they didn't abide by versus a policy that they did abide by? If something was to happen, an accident.
Well, on the other side of that, my question would also be, would we be more liable, same instance, if that permit gives them permission to put that or put umbilical cord, if there were like a creek or whatever that it goes over.
We specified that part because that was one of our complaints last time, was that there wasn't, the old rule didn't have anything about when they crossed the water.
Okay.
So that was written into the new one.
Okay. If we're giving them permission to do that, would that make us more liable?
Well, they could do it on private property.
And I explained that I believe that at this point, if there were to be discharge, that the DNR would be the enforcement agency. It likely wouldn't be Hardin County. And so I said there are penalties, just not at the county level, delegated to the Hardin County Board of Supervisors, nor does the policy state that you know, the recorder's office is going to enforce it. It doesn't say who it is. And honestly, I believe that the DNR probably has greater litigating authority and means of remedy than the county.
One thing you could do, we have the permit process already. You could, as part of the permit application, they could either provide a deposit or some kind of bond, or that way it would be forfeited if they don't cure, or, you know, non-compliance or something timely, or there could be a per diem penalty for violating a permit, just so there's some consequence at the county level. Be something to consider.
And the only bad thing there is, let's just say you ask them for $1,000 cash surety bond. $1,000 isn't going to do a whole lot if you had that bill. So it would be more of a hassle for the permitting entity within the county to collect that, return it, collect it, return it. So I agree with you, but on these hazardous material spills,
We are their least concern.
Yeah.
They spill.
right,
But we want to protect the traffic if they're laying a hose alongside the road.
right.
And that's the point of the permitting process. You have road closed signs up. What happens when a car goes around the road closed sign? What's the penalty?
Nothing unless they hit something and then they'd be liable.
So it's the same.
Right.
It's
So
the
I
same
think
concept.
Right.
But I think we're still better off trying to get people to permit, whether we put a bond out or not. I mean, the bond's always nice, don't get me wrong, but the permitting is to get them to put the cones up and to do it the proper way. By ignoring it and leaving it to the DNR, even though we may not put a lot of teeth into it or penalties or fines, I still think it's worth having the policy there to try to educate more and more. And if we catch somebody, great, there's no teeth to it. But hey, next time just fill out a permit. This is the process we want you. They can keep ignoring it, and I believe we could take something at that time. Can we not?
If they ignore.
If they've gotten a warning for not doing it once before, they turn around and do it again and do it again and do it again. At that time, can we do anything?
Not if there's no teeth in it.
So,
Well, I mean, if you cite them for violating or pull their permit or give them a citation and they can cure it, whatever, at least you're creating a record for the DNR to help them make their case if something were to happen, if they were had to be, if they proved that there was some negligence or so they couldn't claim ignorance of the fact if they were at least cited by the county with, you know, just basically papering file
right.
with these violations.
And who is the violator? Would it be the property owner or the company themselves?
Well, whoever got the permit.
And if there is
they
no
don't get-
permit?
Yeah, if they don't get a permit, it's a problem. They're just doing it without a permit. How do we deal
You'd
with
almost
something?
have to say it's the property owner, because in the example that BJ gave of an out-of-state contractor or something, it would be on the onus would be on the property owner to educate their contractor.
Because I might have no idea, you know?
Right.
You might go out
It'd be
there and
like
all the
me
trucks
coming-
have no name on them. You don't know who
It'd
it
be
is.
like me coming to Eldora to fix somebody's roof or do a sidewalk project, and Eldora's city code to pull a permit for a sidewalk may be completely different than New Providence or Iowa Falls. So it is the contractor's job to find out what permits and stuff are needed before they perform work and services. So,
I guess absent a permit, then it would be the property owner. I mean, you can identify that person.
I like the permit process mainly for and I don't know if there's another way to do this, but mainly for I'm sure cones are required.
If they run
With the-
along the side of the road.
Yeah.
Most don't. Like that's, you're talking about less than 1% of them do that.
Okay.
Most people they're either in the ditch or they're in their field and they go under a culvert. They don't spend a lot of time in our right of way.
Okay. So are they required to use the cones whether there's a permit or not?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, otherwise we could call it an obstruction in the right of way.
I mean, it's just
But yeah,
so people can beware that there is, because with tall grass along some of the roadways, you may not see that. There's a wide shoulder, one thing maybe, but not all of our roads have that. So
I think most of the applicators want to do the right thing, and I think maybe better effective communication and education, whether that's partnering with the Extension Service, Farm Bureau, and whomever else to get the word out that in Hardin County you need a permit for this. I think that would probably be a good first step to try to educate people and get out ahead of it that way. A little more carrot, a little less stick. That'd be my initial suggestion, and do it that way.
So keep the policy.
Yeah, keep a policy, but educate the public better and work to educate, our applicators and our landowners that this is definitely something that needs to be addressed, and it is important. I mean, they're talking snow on Sunday. The last thing I want is a wing of a snowplow nicking a hose alongside the road anywhere. Doesn't matter if there's a body of water or not, and end up with a large manure spill. So, yeah. But no, I think that Taylor and I can work on some public education and get the word out and hopefully move forward and have a positive outcome.
Okay.
can you mention an auction too?
Yeah, and
We need to keep hammering that every week.
So on October
28th?
28th, the county is having their auction. The bids can be submitted to the engineer's office by 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Make sure I'm right on that. I don't have it in front of me. 1 o'clock, there's vehicles, there's some office equipment that came out of the courthouse. We have a
Tire
balancer
and
and a vehicle lift out there. So
And those pictures are on the county website.
Yep.
And then they can come out to the engineers anytime during business hours and look at it.
Yep.
Also, correct?
Correct.
Sealed bids to the engineer's office,
Yes.
and they will be opened, and top three bidders will have the opportunity to up their bid again. Did I catch all?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Perfect. We'll talk about it next week too.
All right. From there, I can ask for adjournment or recess.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries, we're adjourned.